How does depression feel like? If you were given a platform to speak in a hall and tell people how you felt when you were experiencing depression, would you be able to do it? And in simple terms that somebody can be able to say, yes, I resonate with that. And another thing that I would like us to discuss on this journey is the difference of how depression was back in the day. I was diagnosed in 2011, and I look at it now, it's totally different. Before I was diagnosed in 2011, it was more internal. And now I see that for a lot of people right now, it's because of external things. And that is very dangerous because if it's internal, at least you can work on yourself. But if it's external, it's things that you cannot control, which exacerbate the depression. So, hi, my name is Decky, Dexter. We are going to be embarking on this journey talking about depression. I am going to share with you something I wrote 5 years ago and I reposted on my social media. The main reason why I posted it's because I may have conquered depression, but I know that there are people who are not sure what they are going through, and sometimes obviously because of the stigma you don't want to ask anybody, and you need somebody to be able to speak to you and say, hey, are you going through this, are you going through this? And you must, without going to doctor, so I am going to be sharing this is something I wrote. And also the other thing that I would like us to understand is that when I wrote this, it was before I was diagnosed, it was before I got help. So what I'll be explaining here is how it felt before um I started getting help. Yes, it doesn't mean I didn't feel like this anymore, but obviously when you start the healing journey of depression, or when you get on your mental illness journey, then obviously it changes, your mind shifts, right? So this is something that I think every year I go through it and I'm like, thank God, thank God. And sometimes it's not even thank God, it's like, damn, this is how I felt. This is deep, you know. So let's get right into it. And the trigger warning is that we'll be talking about analyzing, which is we'll be talking about that. So please be gentle on yourself. If you are sensitive to such a topic, you can just switch off the video because I do not want to trigger anybody. So, what does depression feel like for me? I'm going to read this because I will not be able to do it as a script. So I think reading it is far much better. So this is what I said. I'm going to give my personal experience of what depression feels like. I won't give you the Google terms or the psychological medical terms or what my therapist asked, and I simply answered yes to. I am naturally a happy soul, the life of a party. Hence, with my first attempted suicide, everyone was shocked. I started feeling sad in my teens, but it's not sad, Yoguti. It's not sad that a guy hurt me or I didn't get the marks I wanted for a test. It's a sadness that I cannot explain but feel. I didn't I didn't have a heart, and there was a big hole where my heart was supposed to be, and I still carried on with my life as normal. I saw friends, I spent time with my family, and everything was normal. But when I was alone and in my thoughts, the emptiness would creep in, which is why I drank so much. I drink every day, all day, anyway, and to people, it would seem like I'm just a girl who loves a good time and company. But no, it was an escape. because depression was inside me. It has nothing with what I have or who is around me. Gradually, I'd just sleep for days. I preferred silence and a dark room, never opened curtains or even took a bath for days. My mom and dad thought it was me nursing my hangover and tiredness from all the drinking I'd done during the weekend. I hated weekdays because everyone was at work, so that meant it was just me and my thoughts. So I just drug myself with pills so I can sleep. Depression is feeling a pain. Wow, I think, I haven't read it because I just um copy and paste and then put it on my social media. But this is just taking me back. So sorry. Depression is feeling a pain from nothing specific, but everything. And that's the worst part. Cause if it's everything, then it meant it couldn't be solved now. So I'd rather just want to escape it instead of dealing with it. Oh my God, I never knew. I think this is deep, but anyway, depression is not, let's talk about it and I'm sorted. No, I don't want to talk. Just get this damn thing away. In fact, I don't want to feel anything. Talking was a mission. I hated people who would come in me and wake me up because I'd been sleeping for 3 days straight. And they'd come to cheer me up. Please note that at this time, um, nobody knew that I was depressed because, I mean, this was 2011. Who knew anything about depression, Okay. Excuse me. So I think also the reason I'm getting emotional, it's the part where, it says, where I talk about it's everything. Okay. Okay, I blew my nose. I'm trying to get myself together. Let's get on with it. Then came a point where I felt that I can't do this life thing. I hated breathing. I hated blinking. I hated going to the toilet. I hated eating. My phone was on dead silent. Well, if you say silent, then okay, silent is silent. And if someone did call me on my mom's phone, I'd get so infuriated. Then I looked at my family and my friends and saw that they are living and smiling. And to me, that seemed like a mission. I didn't see a reason for me to live because this hollow and pain seemed incurable. And I'd always ask myself why I'm forced to want to live when I didn't ask to be born. Depression made me have blackouts. I'd sleep on a Tuesday and wake up on a Friday with no recollection of what day or time it is, because sleeping is the only thing I want to do, which of course in the end made me attempt taking my life because I realized that when I'm asleep, then I can't feel anything. Don't forget, this was happening while I'd still function, while I was still, forced to function. And what they call is be a contributing member of the community of life. But yeah, depression made me feel like this pain that I can't explain deep inside me needs to stop forever. And no, I'm not thinking about my loved ones. They are the least of my worries. I'm just focusing on getting away from this pain that is eating me upside inside and telling me that I must end it. The pain. Not necessarily end my life, but the pain is saying I don't want to pain you anymore, if that makes sense. Then comes the point where I'm thinking how I can end it. And that's the worst. My first attempt at suicide, I had spent the weekend in Pretoria, um, with my relatives, and I couldn't wait to get home to put an end to this pain. This pain that when I tried to explain to a person, they respond, pray. During depression, God is the last thing on my mind. He is really the last thing on my mind. Instead, the only time I talked to God was to tell him to take me. Get hit by a bus, choke on a chicken bone, get randomly shot in jail, just so that I can sleep forever and not feel. And obviously, if you want to take your life, then people become more selfish than if you get hit by stray bullets. Oh, but then this one on choke on a chicken bone. Wow, it was bad. I was going through it. During depression, everything is tiring. Like you just don't want to do anything. Everything is tiring. Hence, I said I did not even blink, and with every blink, I wished it was my last blink. I'd get in the shower literally for a few seconds just for my mom to hear the water running, and I'd stand in there and wail and wonder why I have to live with this pain that hits every part of me. Then I'd go back to sleep. I wouldn't even eat. Food was the last thing on my mind. And if I was forced to go out, I would drink to a stupor. Not a six pack, but drink. Mhm. Sometimes I wish that I would drink so much, have a drinking binge, and that the alcohol kills me. Didn't work. Now I've came up with four solutions. None of them worked. Depression is the worst pain I've ever felt. All I wanted to do was take a break a bit from this life thing till this hole and pain could go away. But until you get help, it becomes worse each day. Okay, guys, my big toe is itchy, and if I have to take it out, then the tablet is going to fall because I'm putting pillows on it and they're under me. But then anyway, thank God I got help. I'm still on medication. I'm seeing a psychologist and a psychiatrist that I've been with since 2011. I love her. Um, it's a pain. Depression is a pain I don't wish on anyone, because the result will be death if you do not deal with it. Depression is a sickness that needs a special kind of help. I was happy only because I was smiling, and that smile was forced. It took me a long time to accept that I'm in this world and I must live, and I hated that. I despise that. That's another word worse than despise. Loathe. My English teacher would be so happy, I think. I hated that why I can't choose if I want to actually live. And with depression, I never wanted to live. When I took a breath, I always wished it would be my last one. Because of this pain. And then I wrote this pain, like for emphasis, in capital letters. My road trip friends, from now on, we are gonna be passengers, ne? Yeah. Anyway, depression is not something to joke about, and don't judge people and make comments like, yo, you have a husband and a good job. Depression is inside, deep inside, where at times I felt like I could take a brush. Actually, I do have a brush here. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. I use this brush when I'm itchy because I can't get there. Yeah, so I say depression is deep inside, where at times I'd feel like I could take a brush and scrub this pain for it to go away. And this was my experience, and this is how I can explain how my depression um was. And I think even today people still don't understand it, because people go like, happiness is a choice, you know. So that's my story. Please let me know if there's something you resonated with, and also please let me know what how like before you were diagnosed and started going for psychotherapy, what did you do, and how young were you when you were um diagnosed. So I've always been a church girl, but like people that know me, like I'm a staunch church girl. And that's one of the things I am very, very proud of, you know, because I would ask myself, why am I still going to church when I feel like this? And one thing I've learned about God is that He gives you what you need and not what you want, you know. And I know a lot of people, especially people that are not religious, they will say, if God is there, why doesn't he you know? Because I felt, you know, when I got diagnosed, it was like, damn, at least now I know what's wrong with me, which made it easier, not just for me, but for people around me. So I had my I, not had I have my husband. Okay, we call him Lava, so guys, you must catch on. His name is Lava, right? So he's really my support system. He doesn't talk much, but he's there, and that really means a lot. Obviously close friends. Yesterday I was going through crazy anxiety, and one of my friends sent me this funny video. Okay, it's just that I don't know how to put in videos in a video, and I don't have the equipment, so as I'm going, we'll do. And support from my church, you know. I'm so blessed to be in a church where my pastor is not going like, no, just pray. No, you know, I'm so glad for the support that I've gotten um through my church. And obviously therapy, but I don't want to dwell too much on the therapy, because not everybody has the privilege of being able to afford therapy, or even if it's free, because I know when it's free it's a bit complicated. So that's how I dealt with it. But also, even though I dealt with the depression itself, I had not dealt with what was inside. Because I say that the trouble, you know, the dangerous part is that we forget that depression is an inside thing. But then we will go like, but you drive an XC90. No, you know, and it becomes harder when it's external. And I think, I'm so grateful to God that at the time it was internal stuff, which was something I could fix. I think from what I read, you could hear that most of the stuff were inside. It was never about I couldn't achieve this dream. I couldn't achieve that dream. It was everything came from the inside, which is why I'm a staunch advocate for us being being good, being gentle to ourselves before we can pour to other people. But guys, the greatest of all, how I got through it is through God. um I'm a firm believer that everything is and begins inside. Therefore, God, being the only one who knows my heart, He can give me strength through His love. Please forgive me for reading. The thing is, I don't want to go off script, because I know I start and then I ramble, because there's so much I want to share. But for now, it is so difficult. And I think even for people who come to me and saying I've just been diagnosed with depression, or this is how I feel, it's so hard for me to be there for him, as opposed to 10 years ago, like I said, 10, 15 years ago, where somebody could come and it's easier to deal with emotions than a person saying I'm depressed because I lost my job. Guys, let's be honest, you can't say to a person like that, go pray. They need a job. So I think also, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it was a blessing that for me it was not external things, it was an inside thing, because I started feeling depression when I think ever since I was a child, I was very depressed. I was like, what am I doing here? Like, why didn't you just, like, put a form and say? But also, guys, having a great support system, and it's not everybody that will understand. And I think as the 80s, early 90s, our parents are quite old, and obviously, if I can't read this to my mom, I can't read this to my dad, because at the end of the day they're gonna be like, so basically you're stressed. And now we have to find ways of how to make it easier to be able to explain to our loved ones or people that want to be there. But also, we have to equip ourselves with the skills of how to help ourselves without needing people, because people don't sleep with you. No, I mean in the same bed, not, like like your sister or your cousin. That's what I mean. So there are things that which would be really interesting about how you've dealt with your depression, or if you think you've got depression, or what skills did you use, and what was the support you got. But also, I think with depression, there's something about it that makes you find you even inside the emptiness you feel, because as much as you are sad, you don't want to live, but then there's this thing at the back of your mind that says, but you really want to live, just that you want to get rid of this pain. But and then again, I'm like, okay, fine, maybe I may want to live, but what do I want to live for? And then that's when the external things come in, which I in my experience, I have not met somebody who has had depression, and while they're going through the healing phase, they will say, I need my car. Like, it is, material things are the last thing on your mind, which is also why I say it's so different, and it's even harder now to deal with the depression of many years ago, where everything was internal, as opposed to now where things are external. But guys, find somebody who can be your support system. I remember I had a cousin, and I think they were seeing now that something is wrong with Decky. And she said to me, just look nice. I love heels. She's like, just look nice. Even if just take a bath and look nice. Then she took me out, and then she took me to a restaurant. At the time I used to drink beer. And she said, even if you have two chips, like two chips, wedges actually, then as long I will sit with you here and just be silent, just for you to go out. So even if you have a person like that, because also what I tell you people, sorry, not you people. What I usually advise is that not everybody will know. Like I say, I've been on the journey of mental illness, mental health for a long time, so I've got a lot of coping skills. I know a lot from therapy. There's DBT. There's a lot of things. But the best thing you can say when a person says, I feel depressed, or I feel anxious, or I feel down, is, how can I be there for you? And sometimes we just want silence. I would like it. I don't want to be alone, but also, don't talk. You being here is comfort to me, that even if I started crying, you will put me on your shoulder and you say, cry. And don't hang around people that will first and foremost tell you about what you have. Trust me, depression doesn't care even if you drive a Bugatti. There is a car called a Bugatti. Yeah. So try to be around someone or people that you know that these people may not be understanding, or I also can explain it, but they'll just be there for me. And most importantly, those people that are around you, they also have to equip themselves with the knowledge of what it is. And what I advise people who are living with who have a loved one that has depression is that when you go to thingy, when you go find out how you, don't say what is depression, just say how can I help a friend with depression, how can I help my mother with depression. Then it's easier, because then you can get things, you can get certain pointers. I am going to put some numbers. Oh, that sounds weird. I'm going to put numbers, I mean contact details of where you can go. I know SADC is a big one here in South Africa, the South African and Anxiety SADC, South African Depression and Anxiety Group. Yes, and I'll try to also, I mean, I also have found other stuff that you can try to get. But also, guys, Mina, I am available. I think if you go, no, if you go on my other socials, my number is there. Yeah. And let's get on this journey. You see, now the bus has stopped. The route to talking about depression is done. Please let me know also what you would like me to talk about. Like, now that I've talked about depression, what more do you want to know? Because we might be going through the same diagnosis, but obviously in a different way. That is why Dr. Google is very dangerous. So if you have any questions, please do. Don't be afraid to ask. And if you want me to respond privately, because obviously for your privacy, you can do that. Thank you so much, guys. I never thought, honestly, I didn't think this was going to be so hard. Yo, but then anyway, let me not ramble. I need to work on this rambling thing. I really need to work on this rambling thing, because guys, I promised you I have a script. But then as I'm speaking, then something comes in. Okay, anyway. But also I would like it to make a disclaimer, and this is something that I want you guys to pay attention to. Everything that I share is from the knowledge that I've gathered throughout the years on my mental health journey and my personal experience. I do not give mental health professional advice. If you feel like you are depressed, or you struggle with anxiety, please see a professional. And I do not, this is the one that's very important, I do not give advice on medication, and you will not hear me give out names of the medication I take. Therefore, do not even ask me. Everything, go to your doctor. So, and again, the reason why I have to make this disclaimer, because I don't want people going out there and now and then you go to your doctor and you say, but Decky said this, right? So please always bear that in mind. I'm a mental wellness coach, I'm a mental health advocate, and I'm not a mental health coach. We'll talk about it another time. So thank you for watching it till this far. Let me deal with this. I didn't know that it still hit. But thank you, guys. Thank you. And I truly believe that you or somebody will benefit so much from my channel. I know they will. I know mental health is not a, it's not it's a very uncomfortable topic. That is why I'm here, and that is also one of the purposes why I began this channel, to show people that you can live with mental health, you can have mental health challenges but still live. And it's not just existing, it's living and enjoying the beauty of life. So please, and also I would like you to watch the whole video, because even though I get to ramble, but then in the end, that is a very important thing for you as my viewer, because that is where I give out the solutions, or what has worked out for me. So please share, please like, please subscribe. I would appreciate that, because then that means that what I'm doing, putting myself out there and being vulnerable, is helping somebody, because people want somebody they can relate to. And I believe I'm very relatable. Number one, I am pretty. Thank you guys so much. Let me go blow my nose and cry if I have to. Bye.